It's showtime.
Down to business. I got my wild cherry Diet Pepsi, and I got my blackjack gum here, and I got that feeling. Yeah, that familiar feeling that something rank is going down out there.
Worrying about ghosts and goblins.
Gutter.
The gutter. The gutter. It's a nice gutter.
Gutter. Gutter.
I am still without devotion, 'cause we're all asleep at the wheel, asleep and so surrounded by what we feel, a bad dream. On a rope and pulled through the ocean with my heart, I'm lost out at sea, and every kind of thought screams misery. So lonely, I'm a Johnny come lately, but I will not give up, and the words they escape me, but I'm full of dumb love, and the world is an oyster with a poisonous shell, and the look in my eye is a look that can kill.
And if you can't believe it, it's a Friday once again.
An island unmoored from mercy, a dot of stone standing fast against the storm on the edge of the skin of the sea. The wind howls, the pangs of regret on its edges, and the waves of the ocean gnash the rocks like old dogs gnawing on bones. This is the place of our story tonight, where a man arrives armed with instruments of intellect, the supposed armor of reason, and yet reason, like faith, tends to corrode when left too long next to the question of if. Beneath boots, there's a hole, not just any hole, and in fact, hole is too small a word. This is an absence that breathes, a patient, pulsing maw, a midge of midnight, something older than the geological formations that it was born from, and hungrier than any god. Come to measure and found wanting, come to discover and found explorer. Chart the depths and discover madness. Chart the reason and discover nothing. For every inch explored, for every foot descended, something follows. Shadow. Win. The sum total of all spoken apologies. Down here, there's a hole. The dark isn't empty. It's waiting. It whispers and it remembers. Take a step closer to the edge and look down yourself. Peer ever into the pit and listen. The sound you hear rising from its depths isn't wind, isn't the echo of every curious soul. It's everyone who mistook the abyss for an answer and found the abyss was taking attendance. Welcome to a place where gravity is only half the reason that things fall. Welcome to the gutter. Everyone ends up here eventually. It is only a matter of time. I am Aldous. I'm your host. My co-host, as always, is JP. JP, how are we doing tonight?
I'm good. Just wanted to drop a bit of news on the show here, if I could, at the beginning. To anybody who has backed Eudaimonia 3, I'm currently locked out of my account because they sent a email to verify who I was, but unfortunately I created my IndieGoGo account when I was a student at the University of Oregon. So that email went to an email that I haven't had access to in several years. So until I get it back, I will be sending any updates via email, so you should still receive them. But I just got word that the books are on the way and will be in your hands shortly.
Well, that's good news. I mean, I expect with IndieGoGo's update, there's going to be a little bit of a bumpy patch, but
Yeah.
overall, based off of all of the updates that they've issued, I'm looking forward to what the future brings. Most of the updates that they described seem positive from the backer's point of view.
Yeah.
I understand that there's a lot of creators that are having issues with it,
Yeah.
but from my point of view as a primary backer, I have no issues. The system, I did have issues logging in after their update, and the interface is probably going to take some getting used to. But as with any UI, when you update a UI, it's always going to be irritating because it's not the same, right? I mean, the shift from Windows 10 to Windows 11 is not without pain, and nor will anything else. But
well,
but
Henry
sorry to hear
Bemis
that.
has my back here. He's gonna look for my passwords. Henry, if you're in the area, there is a Mexican bakery / coffee shop right near the campus. Some of the probably the best cup of Joe you're likely to find.
There you go. So on the just if I could take a little sidebar here, I'm curious. When it comes to a good cup of coffee, like what is a good cup of coffee for you? Are you a like it has to be like ground beans and freshly brewed and French pressed, or are you just like just throw it in the coffee maker and I'll just take a cup of hot coffee?
I mean, I like really, really flavorful coffee, so I usually stick to like the New Orleans blend. You know, like what is it? Can't remember what's it called now. Chicory. Yeah, a nice chicory coffee blend is right up my street.
See, I'm more of just like a basic, like just give me like a Maxwell House or a Folgers, just like a breakfast blend, a really bold flavor that I can just throw in the coffee and make. Just throw it in Mr. Coffee or throw it in my percolator and get it going, and I'm good. The best coffee I've ever had is usually camping, when you're just throwing it in a percolator on like a little camping stove, and you get that like faint metallic taste that out of the percolator. Like that's the
Well,
fantastic for
it's
me.
always time for the percolator. The percolator. It's time for the percolator.
There you go. There was a fish in the percolator.
I get that reference.
There you go. Let's see who's joining us tonight. We've got all the way up at the top. Oh, Citizen Ronan dropped another one for me. Let me read this. She was a good-looking dame, the kind drawn to the city with good intentions that soon turned rotten, because you can't put your dreams on layaway here. The gutter always demands payment in full. Well, thank you, Citizen Ronan. That's one of my favorites, actually. That's one of my favorite comments. I always like to see how Citizen Ronan's going to launch a show. Henry Bemis has joined us. Goddamn Blue Jays, man. Yes! I do have good news. The Blue Jays defeated the Dodgers 11-4 tonight. Just absolutely destroyed them. Hopefully, the Detroit Tigers are taking notes that hitting can actually win games. Just saying.
Yeah, they mollywopped him.
Absolutely. Student of God has joined us. Is reading just for old people? Feels like it. Sometimes it does feel that way. It feels like sometimes the kids just look at the pretty pictures. I think that's more of a boisterous, like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So the people on social media that tend to be the loudest are those that appreciate the pictures and not so much the words. Because I like to think, at least in my little world, that the people that read are just quiet and are usually disgusted by all of the bullshit. That's just, again, my take. Jason Sandberg has joined us. If you have not, make sure you head over to IndieGoGo, previously mentioned IndieGoGo, and sign up for Jupiter 2. Got everybody saying hi to everybody else. Awesome One has joined us. What band was that, Aldous? That was, just a minute. That was Angels and Airwaves. I kind of dug their stuff, man. I thought it fit not only did it fit this book, it was one of those where I had heard it a few weeks ago. I'm like, man, that's a good little tune. I kind of like that. Probably just me though. Probably just me. He's definitely a Stu, not a Steve. Ooh, that's in reference to the Tao of Steve clip that I played. I love that Tao of Steve movie. Fantastic, great little 90s flick. That was Bloodbone by Buzz. No, it was not. But good call. Good call. What else we got? I need to fit Ma into more conversations. Absolutely. Vicky's been doing good work over there with her. She dropped Risible, which was one of my favorites to mess with the kids when Riz was in the kid vernacular and all over in the pop culture. They were talking about the Riz. I dropped Risible quite a bit with them. And they were amazed to find out it is indeed a worm or a word. Worm. I was reading Awesome One's tweet here. Inchworm. There you go. Them Ma Blue Jays. Indeed. Student of God has joined us. He says, well, there you go. And Oi, indeed, Awesome One. Was it Greenwater University where students know better than students, JP?
What?
I'm not sure of that one either. But we got just offer a bag of the devil's lettuce. Indeed. I do not partake anymore of that. I used to once or twice a year. Used to go on a kayaking, fly fishing trip.
You know how it affects different people differently? Every time I ever tried to partake in the devil's lettuce, it just made me go to sleep. That's it. I didn't feel anything beyond that.
Yeah, that tends to be for me too. Henry Bemis brings up a good point. Frickin' Canada. What did Canada ever do for anyone? Nothing. Sitting here on the DMZ with Canada, I can't disagree with that comment. We got Citizen Run saying those commie Canadians can't win the World Series. This is a hard one because it's the Blue Jays and 93 sucked. I know you agree with me, JP. Because you mentioned it earlier today in our DMs. But at the same point, it's the fucking Dodgers, man. It's the Dodgers. Like I don't want people to just be able to buy the series. So I am rooting for the Jays as much as that pains me to say.
You know that the Dodgers have $1 billion in outstanding contracts?
$1 billion?
$1 billion.
$1 billion. My God.
Yes.
My God. Henry Bemis says here in Oregon, you can't swing a dead beaver without hitting an old hippie with potent.
Oh my God, that's so funny that you just said Oregon because we're watching X-Files and that's how Mulder pronounces it in the first episode. And we're like, what? Oregon? What the hell's
Oregon.
that?
What?
It's
how do you pronounce it?
Oregon.
Oregon.
Yeah, but if I said Michigan.
Well, that would just be fucking wrong. Like, come on, man. You got to pick up the slack here. Oregon. It's Oregon. It's not Oregon for you. How am I saying it wrong? It's Oregon.
You say it the same way you would say Michigan. Oregon.
Oregon.
Michigan, Oregon. Michigan, Oregon.
Oregon.
No, it's not gone.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's not gone?
I have a very extensive history of pronunciation pedantry because I grew up in Lancaster and people would always say, oh yeah, Lancaster.
Yeah, Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
No, Lancaster.
Amish country.
Amish.
Yeah, the Amish. The Amish are good people, man. There was and you might remember that. Well, I don't know if there was more than one. I just
By
remember
the way, to
one.
those of you wondering when we're going to talk about the book, there is really not a lot to talk about. So we are with this. This bit is drawn out intentionally.
But so I used to vacation in Lancaster in
Yeah.
Amish country, and
Uh-huh.
there was a restaurant where if you were under a certain weight, you ate for free.
Wow.
So as a kid, like it was awesome because I was
Was it
under the weight.
Shady
So
Maple?
I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it was a big deal. Like when you went up to pay, you had to stand on the scale, and if you were under whatever weight it was, you ate for free, and it was a buffet. It was fantastic. In that case, JP, let's gamble. I do not have Ronnie available. I do have. I can do
I'm
this.
the type of person who will always remember your birthday. If you're sad and you don't know why, I know why.
Those
Yeah,
are some
so-
bloody shoulder pads.
Oh, we're gonna turn into tonight's book. Tonight's book is well. First, before I mention tonight's book, let me mention New Harlem Listen is available over on every major bookseller, specifically BarnesandNoble.com. If you want your copy, if you have not gotten your copy of the sequel to New Harlem, you can find it over on BarnesandNoble.com. You can also find it over on Fund My Comic if you want a signed copy. If you are outside of the United States and you want to find a link to where you can get it, if you can't get it on BarnesandNoble.com, go to the Fund My Comic listing, and JP has conveniently provided you links to almost every major bookseller that will ship it to your area. If you do not find your bookseller on there, JP, I believe in the past you have said reach out, and you will find someplace that does do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Kazakhstan, I might not be able to help you, but if you're anywhere else, I could probably find something local.
So if you're in Kazakhstan, yeah, F you, you can't read New Harlem. But if you're if you're anywhere else in the world, JP will help you. It's only Why Kazakhstan?
I think I just grabbed that one because I think I did a report about that country when I was in school. Like we were all assigned a different country, and I drew Kazakhstan.
Gotcha. Sister Run says that chick scares the shit out of me, and Henry Bemis says I like a gal with a nice psychotic stare. Odin Dasco has joined us. Odin Dasco, of course, is the creator. Jesus, I am really delaying talking about this book. But Odin Dasco is the creator of next week's book, Unconditional Shove, that we will be finishing out pumpkin spice season with. He says there's a place in Vegas where you eat for free if you're over a certain weight. Oh my God. I cannot imagine with the current state of the American obesity epidemic that they are still in business, but it would... Who knows? But yes, tonight's book is indeed the Bone Orchard Mythos, The Passageway, by none other than Jeff LeMire and Andrea Sorrentino. These two gentlemen did Gideon Falls, which was an excellent series, and they are 3 books in to their Bone Orchard Mythos series. Really, technically 3.5, because there is a free comic book day prelude intro to the series. It's a series of unconnected books that deal with different characters. There are 3 of them, as I said. The 10,000 Black Feathers, The Passageway, the book we will be reviewing tonight, and the Tenement. Originally, we were planning on doing Tenement, and that is because then I read Tenement, which was, again, a lot of these are based on recommendations, and Tenement was not something that I wanted to review. So I went to Passageways, and we called an audible and adjusted the show to that. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So this is the Bone Orchard Mythos, The Passageways is the book we'll be discussing. It is a trade. If you look down in the description for this, you can find a link to it. This is not a recommend. It was a decent read, but it doesn't stick with you at all. In fact, in the pre-show, both JP and I were talking about, you read this a couple days ago, JP. I read it a couple days ago, and then I briefly skimmed it again today. I don't take anything away from this. I don't know about you.
I maybe it was a bit harsh. I don't think I think it's an okay read. It's kind of like it really is kind of like an episode of X-Files, strangely enough, which is something I'm watching, where it's like, not a lot you watch an episode of X-Files and it's kind of just nothing. It doesn't stay with you individually. It's more like the longer mythos of the show. I would say this is right up there. It's got some pacing problems, but or maybe I might have read it with the wrong frame of mind, because for about the first third of it, it felt like I was reading something that was very clearly heavily inspired by The Lighthouse. And so maybe that kind of tampered my expectations, because the second and third act, it just kind of flew by. And it kind of almost left me feeling like this should have been longer with a slow burn. But I
This
mean,
book
for what
did
it is,
not
it's
need to
fun.
be longer at all. Like let's be really clear on that. This book drags as it is. I think it is intentional. I think the reveals are meant to be a little bit more impactful than they come across as.
Well, I
Is
felt
my
like I felt like you said, this is part of a series. I felt like there were some things I just missed.
but there are three. It's a mythos, the Bone Orchard mythos, but they're unconnected. They're not. They're supposed to just kind of be creating a world. I didn't feel like there's no sinew that connects the stories, and what's here in this book, like, it's a decent story on its own, but it's just decent. Like, it
Mm.
it it, it could have been more. I felt like the setup is great. But we quickly drift away from that. And I at times I really don't think this book even knows what it is, if that makes sense. The
Mm.
art especially, and we're going to get into that. I do want to talk a little bit about the front matter, because front matter actually matters to me on a book, no pun intended. The title
It was
page,
intended.
yeah, the interior title page is fine. I do want to talk a little bit about this, because I'm not sure if this is intentional, and maybe it's just me, but I got a little bit of biology out of this, I guess, to put it
I
politely.
mean, this is a great like a stoner metal album cover.
Yeah, it's like something the Used would have from like the mid 2000s,
Mm.
or at least for like liner notes. And then we drift from this to this, which I really like, and I think that is one of the highlights of this book. Some of the abstract art is really really good. Um, and then we get into the actual meat of the page, and then we get a little bit of a preview, and it's nice. I like the contrast, I like the color stylings, I like the structure. We're doing that 5 stack. It really works. But then we get into the context of the story, and things change a little bit. And again, panels 2 and 3, I hate this. I've
Yeah.
been on
You
record
don't wait,
multiple
hang on,
times.
back up. You don't like just looking at a static image of a guy looking morose out over the water that doesn't
No,
change?
and this repetitive use of panels is a problem throughout the book, I felt. It's not overly so, but before we get into me really ripping the book for some of the art, the art overall is good. It's just the page construction pisses me off in a lot of
Mm.
places. The story, I like the setup. The setup builds the anticipation, like you were saying in Act One. They do a really good job of building up that anticipation, but I feel like there's no payoff. Would you agree with that, or do you disagree with that?
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's a place for it, and maybe a boat kind of trudging along the water is somewhere where you're not really looking for as much dynamism.
Maybe. Awesome One does bring up that, yeah, that does kind of look like a vagina, and then that is very phallic, and that
Oh,
might.
geez. Can we not? Like, can we really not? Like, you need to have a structure standing tall over the water. It's going to look that way. Like, sometimes
I
a
don't know. I
lighthouse
think
is just a lighthouse.
I agree with you in that essence, but I will say with this, like, this is pretty obvious what they're going for. Like, it's
A skull.
no. I did not take skull away from this.
What do you wait? Are you serious? Of course it's a skull. There's a nose. There's 2 eye sockets.
I did not take skull away from this at all. But moving on, we'll let that go. It is centered around a lighthouse on a small island, and this is where the art sings. This is where the art's really doing a great job. I like this. And if we, Snug's clone is in the chat, and colors suck. All this. Well, there you go.
Yeah, but we had to give him the right to vote.
Well, there is that. Yeah, and the colors in this, it is a very, very muted palette. You're not going to see a whole lot of bright color up until we get to the weird part of the book. And I am going to talk about that. We're only really going to be covering half the actual art in this book.
See, I think the colors are just kind of there's purpose. It's kind of lulling you into, like you said, when the colors jump out.
Yeah, it does serve a purpose. It's a very morose book.
Yeah, like there's a reason why the lighthouse is entirely in black and white.
Yes. But as we move into this, we establish our storytelling pattern, and our storytelling pattern is we are going to follow that stacked panel look. We're consistent in that. It works with how the story flows. I think it's done pretty well, especially like I said in Act 1. I don't think it goes off the rails until Act 2. We get some nice constructed panels drawn very, very well for the most part. Excellent use of the page, no issues there. But then we start getting some stuff like this. And when I say stuff like this, we have a lot of exposition that's dragged out. It's very not repetitive, but just we're stretching that taffy to fill up pages. And anytime I see this, it bothers me. Even in the context of a story that's somewhat engaging, which is again Act 1 in this, is we're doing a lot of things where it's page filler shit. Like this should have been cut. We can do everything that this page accomplishes in a panel or 2. We don't need a full page of it, and we certainly don't need 4 stacked panels. And that's a repetitive issue. We also get splash pages like this, which is just such a waste because I like the art in this, but it's a really creative choice to break it up this way with the topography of the island being the gutter line break between these pages as we have a discourse. But again, between the last page and these 2 pages, this can be like a page. And that's the story of this book. Like the longer you go through it, especially in Act 1, as they're setting things up with what the hole is and all the mystery around the hole that's on the island, it kind of gets to the point where, at least for me, I was like, okay, well, I can hack and slash this. I don't need this. And this is a great page of that, where there's a lot of needless talking that doesn't need to have. I love the layout. The layout's engaging, but it's how they utilized the pages, really the panels below the topography line of the gutter. What were your thoughts?
You know what would have, I think, probably helped out a lot here would be if the main character, who's not even really technically the protagonist, if he were in any way designed or visually interesting to look at. He is just stock man.
Yeah. No, for sure. And then we go from that into another splash where we get a sight of the hole,
which I really like.
I hated this, man.
Really?
I don't like the angle. I wouldn't pick this perspective. Here's my problem with this perspective. You're going to do a ground shot. Okay, it's a top-down view, and you've got a speech bubble there. But if the speech bubble wasn't there, could you tell there was a person there? It's just everything's
no.
muddy.
That's fair. I mean the way, the rocks, you can almost draw like lines to the hole around the rocks.
No, I get that, and they did a good job of A, centering it on the image. Congratulations. And B, like isolating it down that's your focal point in the piece of art. But it's the color. To Snug's clone's point, The color on this, it's just so muddy. It's dreary, and there's no contrast. I have no ability to discern in this image. And then we go from that. And it's not that they don't understand how to do that. They did it in Gideon Falls, and then they've done it in other issues. And then we get a very bright page following this, which works. And this is a repetitive thing where they're using the birds. I like the bird motif, but again, we're using that stacked panel, and again, we're on another page where we can cut dialogue. We don't need all this exposition. And yes, it's a slow burn, but we don't need to spend the number of pages building up to it, because we're not building anything. We're just doing back and forth. Now, page layout and panel construction, they're doing most things right. You might have some argument that you've like the middle two panels. If you look at panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 5 and 6 are the two that you probably can pick a better example of, since panel 4 is him, like a straight on shot, you really want to change the next panel. Like, it should be both of them and she's responding. You don't want to follow an individual shot with another individual shot, because it doesn't add anything, right? It drags. It creates a barrier for reading. Even though like the dialogue makes sense and it's sharply written, because it is Jeff LeMire, who's normally really good. And it's just, man, it just felt weak. It just felt weak.
Well, Ken, here, let me tell you what let me elaborate a bit on what I was saying about how this could have been drawn out a bit more and a bit more fleshed out. I don't mean page count. What I mean is, and I want to draw a comparison to another story that centers around a hole in the ground, The Ring, right? Like the Ring movie takes place over the course of an entire week. And that week is spent watching the characters involved slowly descending into the madness of a haunting. This book takes place in 18 hours?
Yeah.
And there's almost nothing to fill that time. So some kind of these pages are just a waste. And nothing is really happening beyond a very superficial rushed telling of this story that there's just a lot of real estate here that could have been used a hell of a lot better to draw this out into a proper story.
No, and I think that's the general summation of this entire book. Like, the story's not bad, but I think it drags because of not the art, but just the way it's laid out. I think
it's like dragging and rushing at the same time, like that movie Whiplash.
That is such a
Am I rushing or am I dragging? Both.
Yes. Yeah, you're doing both. The story drags, the art drags, but at the same time, everything feels rushed. And Phil from Zade Comics, greetings, Phil, asks, is this a fumetti? No, it is not. Although I do think everybody is accurate in saying it's rotoscoped. It's Citizen Ronan saying if Ralph Bakshi made a comic book, that's what it looks like to me. Henry Bemis also says, I don't mind it aesthetically. I get what they're trying to do, but isn't it just a photograph? It does have that fumetti, just artistic photo adaptation style to it, at least the sense of it. And this is, man, we're only at page 10, and this book is already starting to really piss me off because it's doing the same repetitive shit that I don't want to see. Panels 2 and 3 irritate the fuck out of me. Why, if you're going to do a stacked page, why are you repeating essentially the same panel twice? Why? What point does it serve? There's no dialogue. Why is it there? And what this book tends to do is this more than anything else. I'm questioning the layouts instead of focusing on the story. And the art of each individual page is fine, but my God, what are you doing? Panels 2, 3, and 4, that's one panel. I don't need to see the girl go from standing to a crouch. There's no action in that gutter action.
Yeah, but he said weird.
No, it's dumb. This is so retarded.
I like
This
the
is
part where his plan is, I'll chuck a rock down there, and then he goes to take out his drone, and I remember thinking like, "Oh, cool. That's interesting. He's
no
gonna
that
fly a drone down in the hole." And then like one page later, it's like, "Well, we're done with that."
that was interesting. Now, but here's the cool part. This is where right about the time I'm getting really pissed off with this book, they do something wild. And as soon as they start exploring the hole, things get weird, and they get weird fast, and the art reflects that. We go super abstract, and I dug this. This was the best part of the book. I want more of this. And thankfully, the book delivers, because once we go abstract, we stay abstract, and we get really, really wild. Now, up till now, we've talked about the dreary palette and the poor panel construction. Now we're in interesting panel construction. We've got an interesting color palette. However, the story starts to slip. Like, we're so focused. It's almost like they got so focused on making this drastic change from this dull, dreary exterior to this really hyper abstract style that we get distracted and we lose something. And
Well,
I
this
felt
was the
from
part where I thought, "Oh, this must be a character from another book, and there's a backstory I don't know about."
okay, well, that's not the case. It's supposed to be a standalone story, but I liked this. I liked again, the abstract is great, but it again, we overuse everything. Just like going back to this with the panels 2, 3, and 4, we keep on going into the abstract a little too much, to the point where like, well, why the fuck did we just do that? And then we slam back into this. Now, I love the page construction here. The layout of this page works. We've got the inverted lighthouse at the bottom. Brilliant. It works with the context of the story, but it's so stark of a change from what we just went through. And we're doing this kind of boring double stack stuff where we're just shifting the stacks of the panels. It doesn't do much. I like the lighthouse inverted. I like the birds. I don't like a lot of the page.
Mm.
And that's again the story, because we're stretching that story to try to fit. Like, the last 5 pages I've shown could have been
Well,
2.
1 and 5, it's copied.
Yeah, why? Why? Why do we need to do that? I don't understand this semblance. And then, in case you were curious if the artist is actually talented, he shows you that, I can do a great page. I can do this. Fantastic page. Excellent. Starts moving the story forward as well. The writing picks up as the drone goes down the hole. I liked all this. This is good. Like, and this is the story of the book. Every time you start going like, what the fuck are they doing? You turn a page and it gets better. And you're like, "Oh, okay." And you get back into it, and then they do something else. Again, great page construction. Um when we talk about gutter lines, and we talk about the action happens in the gutter and the transition from one page to another, sometimes when you're doing those panel constructions, you lose the artistic, and you're like over analyzing it. You get into the place where you're putting too much thought into how a page should work, and you're not letting the art really do its job, because it's a visual medium.
There should
Here
only
is a
be
great
one
example
shot
of
of
where
there should only be one shot of the drone, it going in, and then like the bottom right corner is darkness, and the letters just get smaller and smaller.
I agree. I agree with you, but I'm saying in the context of this page, this is awesome. This is great. Because
Also, her asking if this thing has a camera is like the
Okay.
dumbest question ever, because it's
No,
like,
no. Okay.
then it would just be an electronic rock.
No, let me get to that, because I love the page layout. The inset panels, I want to kill somebody, because those insets take away from all the brilliance of the page.
Yeah.
They're not needed. There's nothing that's added to there. You don't need an inset. They're standing on either side of the hole. We established that on the previous page. Here, you can just put those as off-page dialogue. They can be bubbles coming in if they're needed. The problem is the dialogue is not needed. This should be a mostly silent book up to this point. It's brooding, it's melancholy. Establish that. We're not establishing that. We're focusing on a bunch of bullshit. And then we continue the circle motif into this absolutely fantastic splash page and then ruin it by putting dialogue and inset panels in it. Why? Why?
Well,
It's so frustrating that we've got beautiful art that's ruined by just bad placement of lettering.
oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
And Henry Bemis says, I got to agree about the dialogue. It's superfluous. This book should be, by now, this is page essentially like 22 of this book. We should be on like page 12. Like this could be cut down so much and let the art sing. Like you've got a page like this. You've got an artist that's capable of delivering this. Like deliver this. Like this book should be trippy. It should be expanding your mind of what could the mystery be and using that circle motif in a really creative and experimental way, which they're accomplishing here. They accomplished on the previous page. And then you should be doing exactly what they're doing following this page, which is a shock. Like this works, man. And that's again, it's the frustrating part about this book. You get that preceding page that's great. It sets up the circle motif. You get a great double page spread. You turn the page, boom, you get a shock. And then we're right back into abstract.
I like the incorporating the caw.
Right, and beautiful, right? Like right into the flock of birds. It has that same feel as that moment in True Detective season 1 when the birds form the spiral and then immediately like it's got that same vibe. Like it works. Like man, home run, beautiful job.
I don't like him saying shit. That's just really dumb to me. Like
no, and I agree. It's again, less is more when it comes to in this book and how it's constructed and how it's formed. Less is more, and they need to cut a lot of the dialogue. You should be building anticipation. It's not needed. There's no response that's required. And then we go into this, which again, nice page construction. The art in this book is consistent in that I enjoy it. We do something that we talk about a lot, and he's utilizing the background of the page to extend that primary image down. And then we've got 2 insets over the top of it. The problem is the dialogue sucks.
Yeah.
And sucks.
They look bored.
Yeah. And we're not even at page 30 yet of a 96-page book. And it's such it's so irritating. But we turn the page and we get something great. Like that image of the raven picking at the eye. Oh my God, is that good? But then we're repeating it. Like we take the image and we get this great start, but why are we repeating it at the bottom of the page? Why? It's not needed. Take that out, extend that down, and put the inset on top of it to just highlight the page. You don't need the repeat.
No, you do, because the bird isn't really pecking at an eyeball. That's just what he's remembering his nightmares.
I understand that. I'm saying in the context of the page construction, I don't think that the small inset, panel 3 that's at the bottom, it's not needed. Handle it in the dialogue. Just realize that he's saying, oh, I'm hallucinating. But in any case, we go from that into more abstract art, and now we're going super abstract with a fully black page. And that, again, this book plays with light and dark, white and black as backgrounds quite frequently. And now we're going with black with heavy insets. And then we drift back into the white by, again, showing the hole, which at this point of the book, I'm thinking like, okay, like I get where we're going with this, but constantly showing the hole is getting a little old already. And again, we're only at page 30. This motif is repeated fairly consistently. But then we jump back into abstract, which is starting to get like, I'm happy because we're doing interesting things, and I like the page construction. Again, the art is fantastic. I like seeing non-right angles in the construction of how we're doing these panels, but it's almost becoming boring because of how often we're switching back and forth, if that makes sense.
And on top of that, they're eating dinner, but nobody mentions the salted tomatoes.
Always mention the salted tomato. And then we go to another splash, and I hate this page with every fiber of my being. Like, there's so much going on. So let's break it down. I like some of what's being done with the stylization of the art, with it being a little stark, but I hate the fact there's so many panels. Like, I don't, and this is a thing we've talked about a little bit. Like, it's the overabundance and the overutilization of panels. And then why are we doing this we're doing this broken inset overlay panel of red? I don't like that. Like, it almost seems like just the extension of, we're going to be artsy for the sake of being artsy, which is where this book is headed. It's just an art, but not an art book in the sense of art, but we're going for some kind of higher meaning, and you have to determine what we're doing. And I hate that. Like, you haven't given me any pathway for that there's an explanation or a reason for that. So it just feels heavy-handed. And this is what they did with Gideon Falls. And it was unique in Gideon Falls, and I liked it because it was unique. But when you're doing it in the next series, it's boring. Like, it just feels like you're reusing the same mousetrap.
Yeah, I mean, I would be willing to bet cash money that that somebody saw the lighthouse and wanted to make something with a similar tone and feel.
Maybe I've not seen the lighthouse, so I can't speak on that. But
It's art. You would hate it. It's just artsy fartsy for the sake of being artsy fartsy, and film snobs love it. And also,
Gotcha.
did you know lighthouses are penises?
Oh my gosh, really? It's amazing. And then we go further abstract, and now again, I like it. I like this book so much more when it's in the abstract realm, because I think the art, Andrea Sorrento's art is fantastic when he's in this realm. It's doing wonderful things, and you get some great color work. You get some great atmosphere. Like this is fantastic. It's a great page, but again, it doesn't have the impact that I think it's meant to, because the story is so fractured at this point that we really, you don't have any meaning behind it. Like, this feels like it should be an impactful page, and it doesn't have that. And then we switch back, and again, we're back into stacks, and we're going back to the cause, and we're going bare minimum, black and white. Again, stylistically, I like it, but I have to ask the question, like, where are we headed with the story? I could take this page out, and it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, plus we're getting to the grand reveal that the guy on the boat is the brother of the woman on the island, and that was revealed, and I literally said in my brain, "Who gives a shit?
Right.
What does that matter?"
And we've got Student of God says, the Not So Glory Hole comic. There you go. And the skulls are vaginas. And yeah, Jared, greetings to Jared Ice and Fire. This is a little bit of artsy fartsy. It is. It's getting pretty heavy. Hollywood would give this an Emmy, says Student of God. Yes. This is it's in that vein for sure. And we continue into this abstract style with this. And at this point, I'm not even sure what the fuck is going on.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
I am so confused as to what we're trying to bring across. It just feels like we're doing shock for the sake of shock. I liked the story as a whole of this book, but there were, again, like, it's 96 pages. I felt this should have been like 48, and we should have slashed and burned like half the book. And we get into this, and even the art later in the book is not consistent, because now we're going with this style, which is not nearly as consistent or detailed as what we were dealing with. It's earlier. It's to the point of the people that were saying that it seems like it's rotoscoped. It does seem like it's rotoscoped, especially this page. Like this feels like Phil said, it feels like a full medi.
Wait, so
And
do you think they had a photograph of an old naked woman?
maybe, we can only hope. But overall, I liked the story of this one. It's just the book in and of itself, man, it just doesn't work. Like, there's so many good individually, some of the pages are absolutely brilliant. Like, you take an art piece like this and go like, man, what do you think of this? And I'd say like, man, that's a really unique piece of art. Like, how does
Yeah,
that play
it's
within the
very
context of the
evocative.
story? And then, oh, well, it just does. Well, how? Well, we don't know. We explain it later. Like, no, lead up to it, build up to it. If you're going to do something that's really abstract, if you're going to start and give me structure like this, when I have something that's like this, there needs to be a reason for it, and there never really is. Like, and that, I think that's what frustrates me the most, is that the art is so good and the story is competent. It's there, but there's no binding medium between the two. And the story just kind of continues to progress as you think a story should progress. And the art sometimes just kind of goes, hey, look at me, and then goes away for like 5 pages, and then comes back and goes like, no, you're not looking at me. Look at me now. And it's got this drifting in and out quality that maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's something that I didn't take away that I should have from the impactfulness of the art shifting. But if that was the intent, I think it's even worse of a miss than overall, because it doesn't have that impact. It doesn't have any context. There's nothing in the context of the art shift, of the change of pacing, that seems to make sense.
See, I think that. Sorry, the moment of silence fell just as I was yawning. I think I liked the beginning, and then my interest in it dissipated. I think you liked the middle, but we can both agree that the third, like, it just falls apart at the end.
It does. I don't think this is the best, in my opinion. This is the best of the Bone Orchard series. I think they were trying for some. I think they hit pay dirt with Gideon Falls, and I think they were trying to kind of reimagine that structure within something else. And I don't think it works here at all. Like I said, it's not a recommend. It's a very interesting book from the art point of view. It's not an easy read, and nor is it I don't think a good read. But it's different, and I think it's important to talk about. But I think that's kind of covers my summation of it. Do you have any closing thoughts, JP?
No. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend Boner Orchard either.
There you go. But yeah, so that's the Bone Orchard Mythos, the Passageway. Next week we will be covering Odin Dasko's, as I stated earlier, but I'm going to repeat it because I really don't want to talk about this book anymore. We will be covering Odin Dasko's Unconditional Shove, and I've got some interesting tidbits from Odin so far on it. If there are any questions you would like, if you've read Unconditional Shove, if you've backed it already and you have your copy, let me know. Let me know what questions you'd like me to ask Odin, and I'll make sure that we cover them in the show next week. In the meantime, JP, last thoughts?
No, I think we hit them all. I don't really have thoughts.
No,
I'm just gonna. Well, I mean, let me ask you this: have you ever known anybody who put their butter, like, just left it out at room temperature?
Yeah, we do that.
Oh, do you? That's weird.
Why is that weird? You have a butter. You've got your butter container in water, and you pull your butter out, and
Yeah, no, I always put it in the fridge. I always thought it was weird people who just put it out at room temperature.
No, apparently I'm a weird person.
Oh, well, we all knew that.
Oh, okay. That's a valid point. We'll be dropping the link in the chat if you want to join us in the back room. But that is it. That is for Bone Orchard. And as Henry Bemis says, good to have a bad book back on the gutter.
We do love those sometimes.
Yeah, it's always nice, even in pumpkin spice season, in the midst of spooky season, to just have a book that's an absolute miss. I can see where they're going with this book too. Like I think that's the most frustrating part with this one, where you've got a lot of bad books that we've talked about. Void Indigo being the famous one. It's just a mess. Like there's no semblance to it. This one, you can see where they're going. It just feels like one, they're forcing something onto you, and two, it's like they really, really don't want you to go where the art and the story is guiding you one way, and it's like the entire book's focus is trying to push you away from that. And I hate it when that happens. Because
maybe that'll be my final thought. You would ask me for a final thought. We tried something new, and what we learned is to not try new things.
There you go. And as Awesome One says, it's about sex and why we are alive. What a great book. I disagree. But that's going to do it for us tonight in the gutter. We will be closing out pumpkin spice season next week on Friday on Halloween with Unconditional Shove by Odin Dasko. Looking forward to it. That is actually a great book, so it'll be a nice contrast to tonight's. But if you have any other questions, like I said, drop them in the chat. Head over to the Patreon, ask away, and from us to you, have a great night. Anything else you want to say, JP?
Nah.
All right. Bye.
This is blood for blood and by the gallons. This is the old days, man, the bad days, the all or nothing days. They're back. There's no choices left. You're still here? It's over. Go home.